Oh, howdy all, grab yourself a drink. It is time for some PathOfExile discussion. Today, GGG provided one new skill gem, a list of all of the Kirac mods that will be available in patch 3.20, and also one really good meme post, which is the Markov Chain patch notes. Now, the Markov Chain patch notes is something that GGG started doing a few years ago. And when they were a few hours away from revealing the patch notes, what they would do, just for a bit of a laugh, is feed them into a text mangler and then post the funniest little components of that came out. And this has become a bit of a tradition. It's only a bit of a laugh. It's not really any serious news in here. But my favourite one here is the nurse can now be found from more deterministic sources throughout PathOfExile trade. And when I saw that, I just cracked up. There's a number of other things in here that indicate that some things will be in the patch notes. So for instance, PathOfExile's most iconic unique attack-based weapons implies that there may be an overhaul of unique attack-based weapons of some description. So that's a phrase that will be in the patch notes somewhere, but we can't really tell anything beyond that. Who knows, maybe they've decided Starforge needs yet another nerf. That said, I'll put a link down in the description below. This is definitely worth a look just for a little bit of a laugh. Next we have the new support gem, which is Cursed Ground. Cursed Ground is something that will mimic the functionality of the Keystone Doomsday, which is currently on the passive tree. Doomsday is very, very seldom taken. It is something that does have genuine uses, but they're pretty few and far between. The idea here is that your hexes instead curse ground, and then when enemies stay in that cursed ground, they get affected by the hex. In theory, this is great. In practice, it tends to be a little bit weaker in most situations than just casting the hex on the enemy that you most want to hit it with. However, it does grant some additional options. That said, I gotta say that a Cursed Ground support, as we see it here at level 1 and no quality, is looking pretty mediocre. Cost and reservation multiplier of 140% is really quite high, especially given that hexes have very, very, very high mana costs in general anyway. This is going to create Cursed Ground with a base duration of 12 seconds. Now it then says hexes from supported skills have no duration. What this means is essentially this is an overwriting of the duration of the hex. For example, Flammability has a 10-second duration at gem level 11. If you were to attach a gem level 11 Flammability to a gem level 1 Cursed Ground, instead of creating a 10-second long Flammability that is tied to each monster that is inside the hex at the time that you cast it, you instead create a 12-second Flammability that is tied to the area of the ground that you cast this. Sometimes that will be better, sometimes it'll be worse. I do think that the best use case for this is probably in the Simulacrum, and we'll have to see how it feels in play. So that's the idea of it. I don't see this being widely used, but there will be some niche uses that people find for it. But all it really takes is a couple of corner cases and a few people that really love it, and then it's worthwhile having it added to the game. Next we have the big piece of news for today, which is the Kirac mods, formerly known as Zana mods. These have a very big impact on how people farm maps, and it's worth having a look both at what is here and also at what is not here. So the ones that I noticed that are missing are Essence and Heist. There are definitely others as well, but these ones stand out to me. Essence because the support for essences on the Atlas passive tree is very strong, and not having them on the Kirac mods means that all of those Atlas passives that we've felt compelled to take for a couple of leagues in a row are no longer nearly as good as they've been in the past. And Heist because it's something that I tend to find quite useful to have on the map device. So going through them all, Fortune Favors the Brave applies a random mod for 3 chaos. Random can include ones you haven't yet unlocked. This tends to be used in conjunction with the support for it that is on the passive tree. Anarchy adds Rogue Exiles. We don't know the exact number for this incarnation of the Atlas, but it's often 2. This is usually not worth using, but does occasionally have some niche interactions that make it worthwhile. Domination will add multiple shrines. The exact number is up in the air. This makes it very, very viable to pick up the unique items, the Gull and Blunderbore, and then use those in conjunction with forcing shrines onto a map in order to make your character much, much stronger. Blunderbore is a pretty rare unique. In fact, it's tier 1 rarity, I believe, and so it's not going to be available early, but the Gull is much more accessible. Breach tends to be pretty expensive at 4 chaos, but it can be useful, especially in conjunction with a very heavily breach-focused Atlas. Beyond at 5 chaos, this is the first time we've had this since Beyond was overhauled, and I think it'll be interesting to see whether it's a popular choice or not. My gut says no, but I'm willing to give it a bit of a try. Harbinger is next, and at 6 chaos, this seems pretty surprising. At the moment, before we hear all of the live stream information tomorrow, this is a never use it situation. However, it's entirely possible that Harbinger may be overhauled and may get Divine Orb shards. If it does, then suddenly Harbinger will have a new lease on life and people will want to use it. Delirium in the past has been worth using at 16 chaos and it's being marked down to 10. And as a result, this is going to be the thing that determines the top end farming meta in softcore trade-enabled non-ruthless play. And then we have Ritual, which is 13 chaos, which is a lot. Ritual generally is not worth paying 13 chaos for. Most of the time you can pick up Ritual vessels for less than that and force Ritual onto maps that way. And as a result, I don't think that will be used very much at all. What does this mean overall? Well, the fact that we've got such a strong mod as Delirium here means that there will be a lot of end user demand for Chaos Orbs, for pure Chaos Orbs. I think that'll be something that will put a slight downward pressure on the value that Divine Orbs get in the trade-enabled softcore non-ruthless version of the game. However, we'll have to see exactly how long that lasts for and also what sort of price Simulacrums hold up to. If Simulacrums fall down in price, then you'll see people will start dropping off from playing Delirium, and that will also create new farming options for people who want to run Simulacrums. There's always lots of moving pieces when it comes to Kirac mods, and they do have a big impact on the game. Anyways, I'm going to leave it there. I did put up another video earlier today, which is a first thoughts on Ruthless mode, and in about 13 hours from the time I'm recording this, we're going to have the big live stream announcement where we're going to get all of the main features revealed for 3.20 and possibly the patch notes as well. If that's the case, then expect that there will be a stream on Twitch when the reveal happens. And after that, I'll probably do a patch notes discussion stream over here on YouTube as well. So that'll be on probably about 18 hours from when this video goes live, give or take a little bit. Anyways, that's all I've got. May your Val Orbs have interesting results.